And welcome into a Tuesday edition. I don't even know what week it is. The week before Thanksgiving. How does that sound, Richard Miller edition of Talon Talks? Mia O'Brien filling in for Brent Martineau. As we get it popping here on this fine Tuesday, November 18th. Richard, I said it as we came on the air. I've done many games with you. I've done, I think, emceeing duties with you. We've never actually done a podcast radio show together. So we're breaking new ground here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 channel as we cover all things UNF Osprey. What's going on?
Yeah, not too much. Just excited for Thanksgiving. Thrilled after homecoming weekend. You called men's basketball. I called some volleyball.
Yep.
Just an exciting weekend. Men's soccer doing extremely well. Back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances. They left for North Carolina today, so a lot happening on campus.
Yeah, let's start actually with a shout-out to that men's soccer team that will face North Carolina in the first round of the NCAA tournament, 6 o'clock on Thursday up in the Chapel Hill area at Dorrance Field, which as a lifelong UNC soccer fan, it's very surreal to see UNF is playing at Dorrance Field up in Chapel Hill, Richard. This is a team that is coming off of its second straight ASUN championship game. They did not make it easy to the Bellarmine Knights on Saturday. I know I looked at the score. They were up 2-0. I'm thinking, man, UNF's just going to cruise to another NCAA tournament appearance. It got tight. It went to OT, but ultimately the Ospreys prevailed 3-2. And you had the opportunity to call a lot of their games this year. So just describe what they've been able to do here in only the third year of a new regime.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Watching this Jamie Davies coach team, got a little concerned in the semifinals against Stetson. It had to go to penalty kicks, and they did not have their head coach on the sideline due to a red card by the coaching staff the match before. But incredible things. We got actually the honors. It came in.
Oh, we're ready.
Yeah.
That's why I said we got to lead the show by giving the shout out with the breaking news regarding the men's soccer team.
I mean, it's amazing. 9 earn ASUN postseason awards. 5 on the first team, most in program history. Anton Khalil, ASUN Player of the Year. Never been done before.
Never. At
North Florida. Jalen Yearwood, phenomenal. First Defensive Player of the Year award since Jay Bolt in 2016. He's a UNF Hall of Famer. And then Luciano Natoli, Goalkeeper of the Year, first since Kyle Nasta in 2014. He as well is one of the best athletes ever at North Florida.
It's incredible to see what they've been able to do in just a short amount of time. And, of course, we wish them nothing but the best as they head up to North Carolina for that second straight NCAA tournament appearance. I don't know. ESPN Plus, I should probably know this as an employee. Do we know where the game will be live streamed?
Yes, it'll be ESPN Plus. So you got to do split screen now because it's going to be Thursday, UNC, UNF men's soccer, but also volleyball in the ASUN tournament against FGCU at 7.
Hey, the all-new ESPN app does have multi-screen streaming.
Oh, it does. I'm not that technical.
It's okay.
So can you show me afterwards?
Considering I'm an employee, Richard, and I didn't know how to access the new ESPN app, I'm probably the last person you should be asking, but I do know you can have multi-screen viewing on that ESPN app. Let's welcome in our first guest to today's episode of Talon Talk. She is Anslee Long of the women's tennis team. And Anslee, really excited to have you on the program today, not just to talk about the tennis team and all the success you've had in your now, 2022, you were all ASUN freshman?
I was, yeah.
So this is year 5?
Yes,
year 4.
Fifth year.
Fifth year, graduate student out of St. Pete, Florida. So really excited to talk about what the women's tennis team has been able to do, but also you got an exciting trip coming up this weekend.
I do.
Yeah, you want to tell the folks listening into Talon Talks right now why you are headed out to Dallas, Texas?
Yes, so I'm headed out to Dallas for the NCAA Leadership Forum. I was selected with another girl from Austin Peay University to represent the ASUN at the conference.
Love it. Fantastic. Just the second female student athlete to be selected out of UNF since 2023. So it's a great honor, Richard. And certainly it's something that we know that some great ambassadors of the University of North Florida's athletics department, including the president who preceded you and Oscar Berry, formerly of the men's basketball team, that they weren't even nominated or honored and had this opportunity. And so it really speaks to Anslee and what she's been able to do on campus, Richard.
A UNF swimmer, Ashley Kozad, in 2023. So how do you find out? How do you get the news? Email, text?
I ran into Donna, my sport administrator, and she comes up to me with like a big hug. And I'm like, oh, Donna, so good to see you. Like, let's hug it out. And then she's like, you didn't hear? Like, you got it. And I was like, no, I didn't hear, but yay. And then maybe a week later, I got the email confirming that I was going.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I can just see that. Donna coming over, giving you a hug, and you're like, okay, I'll take a hug right now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the hug. Also the honor as well, representing the University of North Florida in Dallas this week at the NCAA Student Athlete Leadership Forum is Anslee Long of the women's tennis team. For those just joining us, Anslee, give us an idea. What are the day's itineraries looking like? How many other schools will be represented in addition to you and that student athlete from Austin P?
It's all Division 1, 2, and 3 student athletes, along with some sport administrators. So definitely a large number of students. And I don't know too much yet, but I do know that we're split up into different teams of, I think. And we'll be spending most of our times in those teams, along with discussion. You're looking for?
Are you going to travel with your rackets?
No. I'm just going to at home.
Okay, I wasn't sure because when I played tennis, it was like you kind of travel with your rackets no matter what.
You do normally.
Yeah.
You do, but
okay.
I'm just gonna.
I don't know what's the temperature out in Texas right now. Are they able to?
They said like mid.
Ooh, okay, so a little bit colder than here.
Chilly.
Yeah, a little
Let's
chilly.
avoid that.
A little chilly for a little tennis. Speaking of tennis, give us an idea of how the team's looking up here in November as we look ahead to the spring.
Really good. We had some injuries. Definitely helpful, and we have a new girl coming. We're at 7 right now. We'll be at 8 in the spring, and we're all really excited.
Share with me a little bit. You went 3-0 at the College of Charleston Invitational, played really well. The team went 10-2.
Yeah.
How was that weekend back in late September?
It was really good. I think we didn't have any newcomers, 7 returners, and so sometimes I think that it can kind of be difficult in the fall season. You're playing for yourself more than you are the team. Kind of struggle with that, but we all were really excited to be there. We haven't played that invitation before, and that was a lot of fun. Definitely a great way to start the fall.
2023 ASUN champion, and so therefore we have to wrap on the tennis front, the actual on-the-court questions, Anslee, with this. How do you guys get back to that championship form?
I know we're going to do it, but I think just keeping the intensity throughout the season. Our season's pretty long. Definitely tiring at times, but just keeping the end goal in mind, like we talk about that a lot. We all are super committed. We all believe that. As long as we just day in and day out, work hard and do the
One of the premier sports at North Florida, women's tennis.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And also a great representative of the University of North Florida Athletics in the classroom is Anslee and the rest of her teammates. 4-time ASUN Academic Honor Roll selection, and then academic selections to the CSC Academic All-District team and the ITA Scholar Athlete team. I mean, when do you sleep? Like, do you ever, take a second? Do you, do you go to the beach, anything like that?
Yeah.
Or?
We fit it all in. Yeah. I think we're all pretty similar in that, we school very seriously and tennis, but definitely when you have the off days.
Share some stories or anything personal about Catherine Dunnigan, one of the coolest people on campus and really a beloved head coach for women's tennis.
For sure. She's like a mom to me. She's the reason that I came. I committed actually I was going to take my visits in March. COVID happened, and so I kind of had to base where I was going to go off of my decision. I just knew that coach was real and authentic.
Fantastic. As we kind of wrap here with you, Anslee, this idea of you being the representative, not just for the UNF Ospreys, but for the ASUN at the upcoming Student Athlete Leadership Forum, when you are that high schooler back in March of 2020, when you're mapping out what you're going to be doing this next stage of your academic and tennis career, do you ever think, man, I'm going to be the one who's representing the ASUN and representing the University of North Florida on that stage?
No, definitely not. I am really grateful, though. I've had lots of administrators kind of put me in positions, and I'm really grateful. I really enjoy it and being around like-minded people.
So you've been to a couple other conferences as the president of SAAC?
I was at a conference in Charlotte this last summer. Cool. The chair and vice chair of every school. That was kind of my first one, but I came back
We probably should have noted this, Richard, too. For those who may be unfamiliar, what is the SAAC? Probably should have led this whole interview with that. That's part of why Anslee, who is the president of that group on campus through the athletics department, is going to be representing the university this week.
So it stands for the Student Athlete Advisory. And I actually served at, each team has 2 representatives. So I was my team's representative first 3 on the tennis team. And then Miss Driscoll was like, try to get a role and lead. Oh, good. Like, you're vice chair. So I was like, okay, great. And then obviously this year I'm chair, and it's just meet once a month, 2 athletes from each. It's just a really good space to talk about what's going on. And then we try to take different.
Well, best of luck in Dallas.
Thank
Can't wait to
you.
hear some cool stories next time we have you on.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
I will leave you with this, Anslee. When I went to Dallas for a conference when I was in high school, I came back with a fitted cowboy hat. So I expect you to do the same. Head to the West End. Go find one of those fitted cowboy hats. Our thanks to Anslee Long of the women's tennis team for hopping on Talon Talk. Still a whole lot to do. Head baseball coach Joe Mercadante joins us next here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 channel.
Hi, I'm Joel Donovan. My brother Kyle and I, we are co-owners and operators here at Donovan Heat and Air and Electric, and my dad started the business in 1987 to provide the greater Jacksonville area with a great customer service experience. 3 decades later, we're still doing the same thing. I love the Jacksonville area, I love the community, I love raising my family here. That's my name on the side of the building, and it's really important for our family to run this company the way it should be ran. It's something to be proud of.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
We're CSI companies. We partner with organizations nationwide to help employers like you find your dream team. You're looking to hire the best of the best, and we've got you covered, start to finish. Whether you're hiring for projects or everyday operations, we provide the talent, strategic solutions, and innovative technologies that keep your business ahead of the competition. This is your workforce, reimagined. This is CSI Companies.
Baker Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oak Leaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Stanwood High School, class of 2002.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Your home for the University of North Florida Athletics is here at the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 channel. Welcome back into Talon Talks. Excited to welcome on UNF baseball coach Joe Mercadante here in just a second. But first, meet not only Richard Miller, the highest rated D1 signing class in UNF program history, but the first top 50 D1 signing class in team history. A massive accomplishment for Coach Merc and his staff. You've been covering this team. You've been calling their games for quite some time, Richard. I'm sure for you there's a moment of just, wow, as an alum, really proud of what Coach Merc, who we welcome now into the studio, has been able to accomplish.
Yeah, congrats, Joe. And I saw the tweet initially from assistant coach Wilkerson, and Man, that's amazing. Were you kind of surprised by that initially, or you kind of knew over the last couple of years that this is where it was headed?
I think the rankings are always an afterthought. I think knowledgeable coaches and evaluators go out there and find players that are going to fit their system and help the program get better. I think it's always nice to kind of get some reassurance that these are some really good players, because we're never worried about who else is recruiting them. We go out, get to know the guys, watch them play, watch them succeed, watch them fail, see how they fit into your system. And then, you find guys that fall in line with what you're trying to do. But certainly it's always a nice thing when you see a ranking behind it that shows that you're really signing some quality players. But the most important part for us is just the people and making sure we get the right guys with the right personalities and the work ethic that, what we're trying to build with the UNF program.
For you, someone who prior to arriving here at the University of North Florida 3 years ago, Coach Merck, worked as a recruiting coordinator specifically across multiple Division I programs. This day and age of NIL, the transfer portal, so many, and I know Richard and I certainly hear it working on university campuses, this idea of, the student athlete has changed. Has the recruiting process changed? Because I also feel like there's enough throwbacks out there that you could still find that same quote-unquote student athlete that you could 10, 20 years ago in terms of that desire to win.
Yeah, I think the landscape's changed, but recruiting, for me, it's always been about relationships. You need to get to know these kids when they are still kids. They're going to hopefully grow up to be men in your program, but getting to know them as they go through the process. It's, to me, recruiting is much more than just walking across a ballpark and throwing up a radar gun and seeing a guy throw 92. That gives you a little look into what he can do, but you got to learn a lot more about the person. So for us, our recruiting process is never just seeing a guy on a weekend and then offering him the next week. We want to get to know him. We want to talk to coaches, talk to pitching coaches, want to talk to the teammates, want to see him have a good day and a bad day, because that gives you a lot better perspective on the whole athlete and if he's going to fit into your program and what you're trying to do. So I think certainly the landscape's changed, but again, it's getting to know people, getting to develop and establish relationships, and deciding if it's the right fit both ways.
Looking at the class recently, I believe only 3 are outside of the state of Florida. Is that the primary focus, is Orlando and just Florida in general?
Yeah, I think obviously you want to recruit, guys who know about your program and know the location, know you as coaches. But, luckily I've worked at a lot of programs and have a pretty large, recruiting network. Coach Wilkerson, obviously. And then, you add Coach Bangs into the mix, who, is coming from Rice University in Texas. So you're starting to get a little bit of a larger network. And for us, we see UNF as a destination. I mean, at the end of the day, you're coming to play for a really great coaching staff at a tremendous institution to get a great degree. And, the beach is 10 minutes away. So there's not a lot of kids that think that that's a bad deal. And now it's just going to find those guys wherever they are and, trying to get the best guys in the mitt.
Head baseball coach Joe Mercadante joining us here on Talon Talks. Parker Bangs, the new pitching coach for the Ospreys, coming from Rice, then Presbyterian also was a stop. Correct me if I'm wrong, for Parker. What has he brought to that pitching staff in a short amount of time?
It's been a very successful and productive, fall for the pitching side. And obviously replacing Mike Petrowski, who did a great job for us for 2 years, moved on to Stony Brook. And, this summer when I went out looking, Parker was one of the first guys that I kind of saw, spoke to, got some information, kind of interviewed. And as I was going through this and talking to other guys, it kind of, why am I even talking to somebody else? Like, this, it was the right fit, just in terms of his professionalism, his organization, how good he is at developing talent. And again, going back to the relationship thing, just a great communicator. And for me, that was, next to knowledge of the game, a 1B when it goes down the checklist. And Parker's done a tremendous job of, in a quick time, really getting some good relationships, instilling his system, instilling how he expects, our guys to operate, and seeing a lot of progress with those guys.
Well, that was the amazing thing. Not only you see him come from Rice, but last season, almost 500 strikeouts from his pitchers. Is that going to be an emphasis coming up in the spring?
I think, obviously strikeouts are a nice byproduct of throwing strikes, getting ahead in the count. We certainly don't want to go through 8 pitch at-bats trying to get to a strikeout if we can get some soft contact early. But he does a great job of developing breaking balls with guys and helping guys, play the power game. He was more of a power pitcher, so you're going to see some more fastballs, some livelier fastballs from our guys, some guys with some tighter breaking balls, which is a little bit different than what we had with Mike the last couple of years. But he's done a nice job of adjusting his style and what he's trying to get the guys to do to the individual.
And the good news, Joe, is you guys did just wrap up fall ball, so you got an opportunity to see what Parker's teaching, what you are teaching, what the 2026 baseball team will look like, and put it into practice. And so give us an idea of what you saw in limited action here this fall.
Yeah, again, it was some really quality reps. Get a chance to play a couple junior colleges, kind of in those unofficial scrimmages. Get our guys get a chance to see them compete together. I really like the depth of this group. I think every year we've kind of gotten a little bit better when you go down the depth charts. And this year, I think our strength is in our numbers. Again, on the pitching staff, we're going to be 12, 14 deep, a bunch of guys with some big arms, and we got more physical on the offensive side, which was a big point of emphasis for us when we went into the offseason. Adding some pieces. We went and got 5 guys, junior college transfers, 4 guys out of the portal, and 8 high schoolers, I believe. So a really good group, and some guys that have a chance to contribute right away.
A couple of big notes, Mia, is we got some notes from our sports information directors, but a couple players playing in the Cape Cod League this past summer. That's huge. Clay Hendry, a pitcher, and Zane Starling as well. To get those kind of accolades and opportunities, that's massive.
It was great. It was great for our program. It was great for those 2 young men who got a chance to go up there and, play in the most, prestigious summer league that there is in the United States. So great opportunities for them. I think it did a lot for them from a confidence standpoint. I think it did a lot for them to see what it looks like with guys from bigger programs and put things in perspective that the game's still the game and work's still the work, and they can go out there and compete with anybody in the country, which is the mindset we have to have as a team. But now you've got 2 guys on the team that have lived it and done it, and again, just a great thing for our program.
Anecdotally, 2 notes. Zane Starling is part of our Taylor Leadership Institute Ritz-Carlton mentoring program, outstanding student athlete, leader in the community through the Fellowship of Christian Athletes as well. So shout out to Zane, firsthand knowledge. He is an outstanding representative of UNF. Secondly, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this because I know Coach Merck will get a kick out of my sports media nerd little moment here. There are so many students at my alma mater, Ithaca College, right now. And this happened when I was in school 10 years ago too, Coach Merck. But it astounds me from the play-by-play perspective, Richard, how prestigious getting to call games in the Cape Cod League is. And in the same vein, for these players to play, I mean, I'm getting calls a month ago, anecdotally, from some of these students, and they're like, well, I may have an offer from Cape Cod, but I don't want to take this other one because if I can get the Cape, like, that is the opportunity. And so it really matters to the student athletes, even as the interns, let alone as the players who are actually on the diamond up there in the Massachusetts coast area in the summertime.
Yeah, it's just such a unique and awesome baseball experience. Anybody that's a baseball fan, like, just go up there and catch a game, even if you don't know anybody in there. The way the community, the way the small townships get behind their teams. Again, you're right. You've got student interns in every aspect, between game operations to audio to play-by-play to bullpen catchers. It's a super unique experience, and I always enjoy going up there in the summertime to watch guys play or recruit. And it's not a tough sell when they tell me I have to go to the Cape for a couple days.
Amen to that.
I thought one of the better stories for UNF baseball this past offseason, Nick Moneal signs a pro contract with the Brewers. How proud are you of him making that accomplishment? Big deal for Nick.
Absolutely, yeah. It was one of those that you're super, super proud, almost like a son, to see him kind of go through it. Because Nick had such a bumpy, I guess you could say, process. Wasn't really highly recruited out of high school. Goes up north and at Niagara, red shirts, doesn't play, second year plays and is a part of a NCAA regional team, and then transfers down here and quickly stepped in and just became the face of the program. And the way he approached the game, the way he competed, talk about big hits, talk about clutch player. And for him to get that opportunity to get recognized, he's one of those throwback players that sometimes slips through the cracks. And as I told him when he let me know the news, which he hated the way it went down because he almost felt bad about it because of the timing of the situation. But I told him there was nothing to feel bad about. This is such a tremendous honor for him, and we couldn't be prouder of him. And he's back here in the off season already and with our guys in the cages and getting work in, and he always considers himself an Osprey for life. So it's such an awesome story.
All ASUN third teamer last spring, 21st nationally, and led the ASUN in walks in 2025. That's all the stuff that's going on the diamond, Richard, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what's going on the diamond behind the scenes. What does she mean? Coach Merck, tell us about all of the improvements that are going on right now at the University of North Florida Baseball Complex.
Yep, we just wrapped up fall practice in time for the bulldozers and the skidsters to move in, so we are in the middle of kind of day one in terms of the earth moving, but we'll be transitioning from a natural surface to an all-turf infield and outfield, pretty much everything inside the fence lines. We're going to go brand new wall, brand new fencing, padded walls throughout, moving our bullpens off the field of play, taking away a little bit of that foul area, increase the fan experience, and, putting a family fun zone down the left field line for more room for the little ones to play during the games, which my two boys will certainly take advantage of. But yeah, very, very exciting with the improvements that we're making and the transition we're making with the playing surface. I'm going to miss watering the infield a little bit and dragging when Corey can't get out there. That was my therapy session. But I tell you what, it shows just an unbelievable commitment from the administration, Nick Morrow and all of our administration, really taking that next step for our program. That field had been there and we've gotten our money's worth out of that thing. It was just time that we needed to make an improvement, and certainly very excited to do it in a first class manner.
What's your first impression? You see, I forget, over the weekend at some point I saw the walls weren't there. I'm going, oh wow, this is really happening. We've talked about it, but now it's there. What was your initial reaction when you see that?
Yeah, it was kind of symbolic. We actually wrapped up the last game of our blue-gray scrimmage, and we had a fencing kind of undressing ceremony where we took the yellow tubing. All of our guys helped rip the tubing off the top of the fence, and we took all the windscreens down. So post-practice, we had a chance to do that. We got a picture, Coach Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes, Hall of Famer, field's named after him. He was there at our practice, so we took kind of one last ceremonial picture with him as a team on the field surface for the last time. So kind of when that started to happening, but you're right, you come out the next day and the fence posts are gone, and then they unload the first construction and vehicles and all those things off, and then it gets really real. So it's a really neat time to be around the program, and super excited to see how everything turns out when we take the field in February.
I can vouch. I drove past it on the way here, Richard. The walls are down, and there were people already working diligently on getting Dusty Rhodes Field back up and ready for the spring 2026. What do you guys do in the interim? I mean, are you getting a shovel and helping them, or you got the boys out there helping, get the turf laid down?
I've tried. Now it just appears we need to stay out of the way. So, we're spending a lot of time in the batting cages and over on the multi-purpose turf field, and it's a great time for us because we've kind of wrapped up fall practice. We're kind of focusing more on strength and speed and all those things, but we can still get our work in the batting cages and on the purpose field. And in the meantime, like I said, just tell the guys kind of stay out of the way, take their pictures, and enjoy it and be ready to go when we get back.
Well, it seems too like I see the teams constantly in segments over at the track getting workouts in. Is that 2-3 times a week? What is the schedule with the non-baseball, I guess, aspect?
Yeah, we, again, and kind of a quest to, again, become a little bit more physical, we really emphasize the strength and conditioning aspect this fall. And usually when you enter the fall practice segment, you scale back and maybe go 3 days a week. In the weight room, we stayed 4 days the entire fall. So our guys worked really, really hard. Ethan Jenkins is our strength and conditioning coach, and he's done an amazing job this first year with us. But our guys have gotten bigger, they've gotten stronger, they've gotten faster. So 4 days a week they're over there, and it's been really a productive fall for those guys from a physical standpoint as well.
So the shovels in the dirt, signing classes in the books. I'll ask you the same question as we wrap here, Coach Merck, as I asked Anslee. Do you sleep now? Do you get an opportunity to kind of rest a little bit, or it's full steam ahead recruiting, or what's the game plan the next few weeks?
Yeah, you're never done with any of those things, right? So you're always kind of reevaluating. So we'll certainly scale back a little bit. We're not on the field anymore, so get a little bit more time to maybe get home early, play catch with the kids in the backyard, try to squeeze in around the golf. But yeah, you're always thinking about recruiting. You're always thinking about getting the team ready. How can you help prepare the team? We're going to do a little bit more team bonding stuff. We've got a team. It's going to be a fun Friday. We've got a team paintball adventure going on Friday. So kind of see those guys get after it a little bit. But yeah, this is a fun time of year. But certainly these guys are still working hard through the break.
Awesome. Well, we'll let Coach Merck be witness. I promised Richard we'd have a special prop that would be introduced during this segment here on Talon Talks on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 channel. I'm getting ready this morning, right? And so I host Club 904 from 1 to 2 here on the channel. Knew I was filling in for Brent. So I say to my fiance, I don't know what to wear. Like, should I wear this quarter zip, this one that the golf team gave me? And he pulls out this old relic and was like, if you're going to be wearing the button down, Hold on, let's hold it up for the camera.
Nice.
I think you got to rock this. So we're going to throw that on as we send Coach Merck off for the rest of his Tuesday and get ready to welcome in our next guest here from the University of North Florida on Talent Talks on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Hi, I'm Joel Donovan. My brother Kyle and I, we are co-owners and operators here at Donovan Heat and Air Electric, and my dad started the business in 1987 to provide the greater Jacksonville area with a great customer service experience. 3 decades later, we're still doing the same thing. I love the Jacksonville area, I love the community, I love raising my family here. That's my name on the side of the building, and it's really important for our family to run this company the way it should be ran. It's something to be proud of.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
We're CSI companies. We partner with organizations nationwide to help employers like you find your dream team. You're looking to hire the best of the best, and we've got you covered, start to finish. Whether you're hiring for projects or everyday operations, we provide the talent, strategic solutions, and innovative technologies that keep your business ahead of the competition. This is your workforce reimagined. This is CSI Companies.
We've been telling you about the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network for over a year now. How to find it, what to see. Simply put, it's TV online. Local sports content all day, every day. Just like this.
Did you always want to make history? Like, think that big, or just say, hey, I want to play in the NFL?
I always say I want to play in the NFL.
That's it. Back to our left side. Takes a shot. And into the back of the net.
Oh, what a pass.
Oh, my goodness.
What a pass.
And they have been. We've been talking. We've been articulating.
I did have a sense that they wanted to be bold, that they wanted to make a splash.
It's content you won't find on TV. Find it on actionsportsjax.com and just sit back and watch local sports all day on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
One segment to go here on this week's edition of Talent Talks. Mia O'Brien sitting in for Brent Martineau, although it was just pointed out to me I look more like Bo Beach, maybe. Never possibly his height, Richard Miller. But
no, you need another foot.
We've got the number 2 rocking. So shout out to Bo, who I know is locked in right now here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 channel. Who needs work? And our appreciation to Jeff Conrad, the head coach of the UNF softball team, for joining us here in the Action Sports Jax studios. Welcome, Coach. Is this maiden voyage here on Talent Talks?
First time for Talent Talks, but I've definitely been here with Brent a few times before in the past. So happy to be here, and appreciate you guys having me.
Well, we appreciate you swinging by, fresh off of one of the biggest non-season days, I would say, for the softball program over at the University of North Florida. The dinner on the Diamond was Saturday. For folks who may be unfamiliar, let them know what that is and how successful it was this past weekend.
Great event. We actually started it last year was our first year, but we bring the alumni back, give a chance to introduce our squad for this year, bring their families in, and then this year we recognized obviously our championship team from last year. So it was a really good event, really well attended. We really kind of grew from last year, which was something that was really positive for us. So really something we're looking to continue to, build on and have as a yearly event for us.
I know one of the players who returned, Allison Benning. How important was she for North Florida? not just softball, but I think the entire campus, everybody knew her.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we recruited her, obviously when she left Oregon, she was, a top 10 player in the country prior to going to Oregon. And, we felt like if we could get her here, we get a chance to get a generational player, someone that could really, accelerate the growth of our program. And, to her credit, she came in and she worked really hard. I think a lot of people look at it like you're bringing in a player who was, one of the best players in the country, but she was, she'd be the first one to tell you she was broken coming from Oregon. We really had to work to kind of build her back up and get her to where she was. And, obviously I think her impact on our program, tremendous. I think her impact on UNF just in general, I think was pretty significant. So we were really, really fortunate to have her. And, it was great to have her back in town and, see how she was doing and visiting with our, our current group.
And what's interesting is Allison Benny has many call her on campus, comes to the University of North Florida from Oregon, as you alluded to, Jeff, and she's from Minnesota. Like, this was not I want to go home to Florida. You and your staff recruited her and convinced her that this was the place that she could revitalize her game. And in that same vein, officially, another round of applause, another big-time accomplishment for a UNF Athletics program in the rankings. Not that, like Coach Merck, I know you don't care about the rankings, Coach Conrad, but top 10 transfer portal class by WAR from 643 charts, the only non-Power 4 school in the transfer portal top 10 in the country. And that speaks to case studies, proof of concept, like Allison Benning, the experience that she's had.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of kids, as we're going through the process of the portal this, off season that referenced Benny, as somebody who came from a big school and kind of was able to resurrect her career and have a really good experience with us. And, she definitely had a big impact, from that class, and kids were very familiar with her. And, I think it really just helped be a draw for those guys to want to come to UNF. So, but yeah, it was a great class. Mario and Amber, obviously put a lot of hard work in. When our season wrapped up, in the regional final, was the same day that the portal opened. So I told our guys, it's on to the next one. We went back, we got our stuff, and had, a 5-6 hour bus ride home, and we were grinding the whole way back, starting on the portal. So, I think we really worked hard to put this class together. You get a taste of, what we were able to experience, and you naturally right away start thinking, what's the next step, and we think this program is very capable of, making it to a super regional. And, we're eager to kind of get started and carry that momentum that we had. And, obviously the season we had really kind of changed our recruiting profile pretty dramatically. So, yeah, I mean, we brought in a great class. We worked really hard, and we think those kids are going to have a huge impact on our program.
I had one anecdotal comment for Coach Merck, so I have to have one for Coach Conrad as well, Richard. How much of your Iowa influence and your coaching staff's Iowa Midwest influence, you knew it was going to sneak into this program somehow as I fill in for Brent Martineau, how much of an influence has that had in terms of recruiting the Midwest and bringing players from a very softball-rich neck of the country down here to Northeast Florida?
Yeah, absolutely. We run our program off Midwestern values. My entire staff is from the Midwest. We got really strong, connections up there. Actually, all the ladies, Amber, my wife, Mario's wife, are all from Iowa.
Yep.
Mario and I are two Chicago kids, so we really hit that area really hard. But, we really, from the time I've been here, we've really, strived to be a coast-to-coast program, and we bring in kids from all over the country. And, we've really, done well with California kids who think of UNF as very similar to home with the beach and things like that, but it gives them the opportunity to go away from home. So we take, advantage of that. And, we got a lot of offer here. And I think obviously a lot of the national attention on our program last year only helped to enhance that. And, we've took full advantage of that.
Well, tell us a little bit. You got the contract extension as well. Congrats to that. How did you celebrate, though, after the NCAA tournament? Did you go out to a nice steak dinner, get a new pair of sneakers? How did you treat yourself?
Honestly, I really haven't taken much time to just step back and just kind of appreciate what we did. It was my mindset was right on. We got to repeat. We got to come back. We got to do it again. And I think with that mentality, there's no such thing as off days. So we just kind of went right back at it, and It was a little bit of a busy summer just in terms of, the interest. You have a season like that and jobs open up and then people are reaching out to you and, expressing interest in different things. But, for me, it was never something that became a distraction. It was always, I'm focused on we know what it's like to be in a regional final. We need to play in a super regional. So how do we get there? And, I think the great thing about playing in a regional final is you find out where your team's short, where your team needs to improve, and we were able to really kind of get a good picture of what that looks like and where we needed to get better, and utilize the the transfer portal to really capitalize on that, plug those holes, lengthen our lineup, different things like that we really needed to get to that next step, and I think we were able to obviously, fortunately, do that.
Not just play in a regional final, but win 2 games in that regional final and make it all the way to the championship. 47-15 a year ago, 22-2 in ASUN play. You mentioned you have some new additions to your staff, Coach Conrad, much like the baseball team. So higher profile and opportunity to add to that staff and add to that roster as well. So tell us a little bit about your new additions, both on the bench and the dugout, as well as on the roster itself.
Yeah, so really the biggest thing I think that we identified as we're playing in a regional final is you got to be able to compete 1 through 9 in the lineup, and that length is really important when you get to that time of the year. I think we had gotten to a point, going into that final game against South Carolina, we were something like 1 for 30 from 6 through 9 in our lineup. And, that's, something that we obviously identified and something we really needed to, improve on. We, as a staff, have always really kind of cultivated the portal pretty well. It was really interesting to see how a season like we had changed a lot of that hard work that we would have to do into kids now seeking us out. By the time we had got on that bus for the trip, the trip home from Columbia, we were already getting flooded with emails from kids like, hey, I just saw you guys playing on TV. Your team looks like it has fun. Your team is really competitive. Like, that's of interest to me. So we were still doing our part and grinding and cultivating, but, the amount of kids that were reaching out to us and seeking UNF really drastically changed off of that weekend. We brought in some really high profile kids. Bella Semino is a kid that was a all-conference kid at Florida Atlantic, has regional experience throughout her career, was a kid that was, a pretty exclusive Power 4 in the transfer process, and we were able to kind of get on her pretty early and, sell her on the opportunities that were here. Caden Oliva is a local kid from Ponte Vedra that we recruited out of high school. Decided to go away for her freshman year, had a really good freshman season, went in the portal, decided she wanted to come back home. And I think, if our program hasn't evolved the way it does, I don't know that she's necessarily in a situation where she's looking to come back home like she did. Hannah Davila is a kid, transfer from UGA, another kid that's got postseason experience, was pretty exclusive with the Power 4s. And, the one thing, we've never been afraid to kind of roll up our sleeves and battle with those schools. And we've won our fair share of battles. And, now that we've had the season that we've had, it made it a little bit easier for us to kind of compete in some of those battles. Hannah came down to UNF, or the University of Arizona, and Arizona is a school that's won like 8 College World Series, and we're sitting here going toe-to-toe with them, and we end up winning in the end. So I think it tells you a little bit about, how our program's evolved and what we're capable of doing on a recruiting standpoint. So Aiden Allen's another kid, transferred in from Arizona State, postseason experience, started 36 games for them last year, another regional team. So we really were able to take advantage of lengthening our lineup, that I think is really going to not only be a vital part of us competing in a very tough ASUN conference, but when we get into that postseason, that experience, that length in the lineup, I think is really going to show up for us.
What about fall ball? I know there were a lot of games, a lot of Friday nights. How did you feel like all of that went for your team?
It was good. We're kind of really curious, how is our pitching staff going to look, without Benny? I think we got to about game 6 before somebody finally scored on us. So we found out, a little bit about, hey, I think our pitching's a little bit further along than what we thought. We really kind of identified that game against Florida as kind of the test that we're going to really look at and see, hey, where are we at this point in the season? And there's a team that we know, like, for us to get to a super regional, we're going to have to beat a team like Florida to get there. And we're playing them, a team that'll, obviously be one of the top 5 teams probably in the country yet again, and we're 4-4 through 8 innings. So, we feel really good about the fall that we had, feel really good about the group we've had, feel really good about where we're at. We talk about being able to be in a position to potentially make it to a super regional, and we feel really good about this group we have and what they're capable of doing.
Ended up shutting out 6 of those 8 fall opponents and scored at least 8 runs in each of those 6 games. So the Bats are pretty hot too.
Yeah, I think we got a pretty complete team. This is definitely, since I've been here, the most athletic group we had. I think we got 3 kids that, individually could steal over 30 bases. The length we've got in the middle of our lineup now, when you start talking about, a kid like Hannah Davila, who, transferred in from Georgia, is hitting like 7th in our lineup. That's pretty good length when you got a kid like that deep in your lineup. So, we feel really good. We feel this is a really complete team. We feel like this is a game, a team that's, capable of getting over the hump, and they've just really been, focused. I think from a coaching standpoint, you never know how is the team going to respond to that success. Are they going to handle it like, hey, we really put a lot of energy into trying to check this box. We've checked it. We feel satisfied, and I haven't gotten that sense from our group. I think, they understand that there's, the mission is now to go out, do it again, find a way to get it even further, and keep pushing along in that fashion.
What was the how or the why maybe of getting Langford? When we saw her, center fielder for Mercer, one of the most exciting players to see man center field. Was that maybe your first look at her when we played them?
No, we actually, when she left USF, we tried to get her at that point. And we, I think we ended up in the final 2. And I think there were some things, obviously her husband, plays professional baseball, center fielder for the Texas Rangers. There were some ties to Georgia, I think, that really kind of factored into some of that. But when she went in the portal again, obviously we really identified she's, an elite leadoff hitter, a great table setter, a kid that's probably going to score 70 runs for us. So she was somebody that we identified, with Lulu Brock graduating, we needed someone to step in, fill kind of that leadoff spot. It was an interesting recruitment because we didn't necessarily need a center fielder. McCarthy is as good as they come in terms of tracking balls in center field. But the opportunity to add somebody with her offensive skill set to the leadoff spot and have 2 elite ball trackers in the outfield like Langford and McCarthy. We're going to potentially mess around a little bit with some, 6-man infield, 2 outfielders, because those kids can really cover the whole outfielder on their own. So it really was kind of it's a nice luxury to have. But those kids, McCarthy and Langford, those kids can go get it. With the best of them. So, we'll get a little bit creative as long as we can trust our pitchers to hit spots. I think we can get away with doing some little, shifting and different things like that. So, with analytics and all the data that you get this day, there's a lot of creativity I think we're going to be able to really utilize with having those 2.
A baller in her own right, but yes, that is Wyatt Langford, formerly of the University of Florida and now the Texas Rangers. This is his wife, formerly Hallie Bryant, and then her dad was also a UNF alum,
Yeah.
So certainly I would think that helped in the recruitment process as well. A loaded team, Coach Conrad. We're really excited to see him on the diamond this spring.
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited to get going. Opening night, we get to play on a Thursday night, kicking off the season. We got an SEC team with Auburn coming to town, so be a big deal. We got to play on opening night last year. Had to go to Gainesville to play Florida, but having the opportunity to have an SEC come here on opening night, I think, is a big deal for us.
Says a lot about where the Ospreys are as a program. We appreciate it, Coach Conrad. We'll be following, and I'm sure you'll be a guest here on Talon Talks again very, very soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
There he goes again, Jeff Conrad, the head coach of the UNF softball team. Just listening to that transfer portal roster and just some of those names, Richard, you get why they are ranked in the top 10 by so many different outlets, but also this idea of that's just one part of the story, because then they're also bringing girls back from a team that won games in the NCAA tournament 1 year ago. And someone who I know was locked in on that NCAA tournament run, as he is each and every team at the University of North Florida, pinch hitting. Look at that little pun there. For Athletic Director Nick Morrow, it is Assistant Athletic Director for Facilities and Grounds Corey Levine making an on-air debut on-air debut on Talon Talks.
Yep.
You scooch into the microphone. It's okay. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, brother man.
It won't bite.
Yeah, we promise. Don't worry. I mean, you talk to Richard and I on the daily, so like, what's the difference here? What's going on? Welcome into Talon Talks.
Appreciate you guys having me. Look forward to talking a little bit about what we're doing and what we've got going on campus. It's been an exciting time to be an Osprey recently.
What's it like for you? Men's soccer, they go back-to-back ASUN champions, both on your field, which we've talked about it off air, is the cream of the crop of the Atlantic Sun. How exciting is that for you? Is you're almost like the artist of everything coming together and people get to see your grand beauty?
Correct. No, we talk a lot about, stadiums and construction projects, but at the end of the day, the playing surface is the most important piece of all these facilities. Our number one goal is obviously to keep our student athletes safe on all of our fields. But with my assistant, Luis Rodriguez, and myself, we obviously want it to look good, and we take a lot of pride in that too. Our student athletes love it when they come out there, or they come, you guys come up in the press box and you look down and see it. Obviously, that's hours and hours of work that's gone into that. And for it to pay off, and with our teams winning championships, I think that it's like the cherry on top, right? It makes it all worth it. We've talked about that a lot with our coaches too. They take a lot of pride in it. It's a recruiting tool, just like baseball's facility that's getting the upgrade as we speak. It's just going to continue to help build our brand and what we're doing on campus.
And I think what people miss in the Hodges renovations, Richard, is that it's not just the University of North Florida soccer teams that Corey and his team are having to prepare the stadium for. Sporting Jacks also playing their inaugural season at Hodges Stadium. And so describe, in terms of managing, keeping that playing service in elite tip-top shape for the University of North Florida, but then also knowing a professional outlet is coming in on off days to also train and practice there.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the tricky part this year. This is our first time hosting a professional soccer team during our soccer seasons as well. It's been an interesting challenge. We did get to replace the playing surface this past summer. So as soon as the NCAA East Regionals were over, our guys were in there tearing that field out and getting it ready for this fun project that we undertook. And then we went right into our soccer seasons on a brand new surface. But managing it between a pro soccer team and two Division I college teams has been a challenge nonetheless. Sporting Jacks plays this Saturday, and we just wrapped up the ASUN championship on our field this past Saturday. So a lot of quick turnarounds, but we're used to it. We host a lot of events in the spring and year-round. It's definitely been a challenge, but we're just excited to keep moving forward.
As a fellow lover of grass, I keep track of when
Do you like to touch the grass, Richard? I'm just kidding. You knew I had to get that one
no,
in there.
I sometimes taste it. You never know. But when I mow my front yard, backyard, keep track of all this in a little notepad sometimes. Do you do the same of, okay, we're watering Hodges Monday, Wednesday, Friday, etc.?
Oh, we track everything. We use a lot of data just like coaches do in their analytics. We study everything, we take notes, and we look year over year how we do things and how we can improve. We've had some bad years, and I never hide that, but we always look to improve on what we're doing to make sure that everything looks good and is safe for our student athletes and guests. And that's a huge piece this year with Hodges Stadium truly turning into that multi-purpose facility. We're going to roll from Sporting Jacks into Tax Slayer Bowl game practices. We host the SEC team each and every year, so we'll flip it from that to football, back into soccer, and then we'll welcome our teams back for their spring seasons as well, along with various track meets and other one-off events that we'll have until the summer.
I got a HOA notice yesterday, Richard,
Oh, no.
about some weeds in my grass. I think why am I even bothering?
You need me to come by?
No, I
Okay.
I need Corey and you,
right.
because you're also
Okay.
taking copious notes on the grass. So maybe Richard Miller or Corey Levine can
Let
help
me
me
know.
out
I'll swing
on
by.
that front. Let's flip it on over. While your specialty, Corey, is certainly the grass playing surface, you do help oversee as the assistant AD for facilities and grounds, UNF Arena, which has also seen significant upgrades here in the last few months, and will be hosting not just the basketball seasons for both the men's and the women's teams, and volleyball this past fall, will be hosting the FHSAA tournament this spring for the first time, part of a 3-year contract. So describe all the great news and happenings and exciting stuff going on the arena front as well.
Yeah, and you guys have both been in that building. You've seen it transform just like we have, and with that comes a lot of new technology and toys for us to play with and things to break. And but we are excited. We just kicked off our men's season this past Saturday with a win at home on homecoming. It was a great crowd, and we were excited about that. Everything worked great. We had a huge crowd, and but true, the arena is turning into a multi-use facility as well between our student athletes and our guests. We are excited to host the Florida High School Basketball Championships this year, which kind of, will fall right into our season still. So there will be some conversions back and forth. We're still working out a lot of those logistical details, but we're excited. We just got the locker rooms wrapped up and finishing some few punch list items on those, but our student athletes have loved those spaces so far. I'm sure you guys have seen them already as well. It's everything truly on campus is transforming, and it's awesome to be a part of. Just from when I started 5 years ago, everywhere I look has changed dramatically, and there's a lot of plans that are still to come, and we're excited about those as well.
I mean, nothing looks the same anymore from when I first started at UNF back in 2004, going to classes there. You just park and you're like, this wasn't a thing.
Well, let alone the whole city of Jacksonville,
yeah.
But especially the University of North Florida campus. For those who haven't seen the locker rooms yet, as well as the weight room, kind of give us an update on what's to come there, because I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, now with the locker rooms officially ready to go, that's the next piece that'll be unveiled.
Yeah, so the locker rooms were we just unveiled those. The teams have moved in. We already kind of completed some some weight room, renovations that they've been using for a while now. We do have some plans that we can't quite talk about yet, but there is
That's
a lot.
that part that Josh Baker told me, Mia, don't ask anything new. I'm just curious because when fans do come to basketball this winter, you do see that there are still transformations that can't be revealed yet, but they are still ongoing.
Yeah, and they can take a look at those. Our weight rooms that we actually had as old racquetball courts, those were converted a little while ago, so those are usable spaces now to kind of alleviate some of the stress on the Hodges weight room underneath the stadium over there, so our arena teams can stay in their building, work out, go back to their locker rooms, and get right on the court quickly and not kind of cut into their time with walking from facility to facility. But no, definitely a lot's changed in that space between our hospitality spaces, our in-game entertainment, and fan experience. Those have all been elevated, and we're still excited to show those off all season.
Well, I'll say this much, Richard. We're 58 minutes into the program, and still somehow, some way, it has not come up. So we'll end with this for you both, gentlemen. The new Ozzy was unveiled at Saturday's homecoming game. Yes, there he is. Corey, Richard, what do we think?
I need to get in better shape.
Yeah, touche.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome. He looks great. It was a much needed improvement, and I'm glad we finally found him.
While I will miss old Ozzy because he was lovable, I think this Ozzy will work his way into our hearts as well, gentlemen. And yes, he was unveiled with pyrotechnics and so much joy at the homecoming game on Saturday. Richard, anything else before we get out of here on Talent Talks?
A great jawline for Ozzy. I wish I had the same.
What's funny is the call was weight room because Cam Oriole with his first of 3 and 1s, and then we cut to Ozzy, and I said, those are two guys. They got a lot of muscle. They're flexing on it. Hey, appreciate you guys letting me hang out in Talent Talks. Next week, same time, same place. We will catch you then.